Hello and welcome to the Game Ranker Show. I am your host, Nate the Game Guy. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the best games to be released in 2001. These are the games that have had enjoyable gameplay, memorable stories, left a great impact on gaming as a whole, along with other aspects that make these top quality titles. Please keep in mind that this list will be opinion-based with a healthy amount of objectivity when ranking these titles and will not be based on personal taste. So if you happen to agree or disagree, feel free to comment your thoughts down in the comments section down below, and let's have a civilized discussion as to what you may consider to be some of the best games from 2001. Now, without further ado, let's dive right into this video and take a look at some of these games in store. Starting off the list at number 10 is Gran Turismo A-Spec. This third installment of the successful racing franchise that started on the first and previous generation of the PlayStation continued doing everything that made it successful and of course improved upon its previous installments. This was a must-have for gamers back in 2001 who were also car aficionados thanks to the lineup of cars, gameplay, soundtrack, along with many other factors that allowed A-Spec to become a must-have racing title back in 2001. The third entry of Gran Turismo was another quality title that helped the PlayStation 2 to grow in having quality exclusive titles to entice gamers into purchasing the second entry of the PlayStation brand, which allows for A-Spec to be the first entry on this list. Next up on the list at number 9 is Pikmin. This delightful entry was the start of a brand new IP under the Nintendo umbrella that introduced players to Olimar, the spaceship pilot that crash-landed his ship and discovered a bunch of creatures known as Pikmin that he could use at his disposal to help find the parts and rebuild his ship. There were red Pikmin that could withstand fire, yellow Pikmin that could withstand electricity, and of course, blue Pikmin that could withstand water, which allowed for some engaging gameplay that certainly was enjoyable and didn't hold back on its creativity. It was the highlight of what the GameCube could offer with its exclusivity and helped kickstart its growing library shortly after its launch. Thanks to the success of Pikmin, it would thankfully spawn multiple sequels and would become a recognizable Nintendo IP. The next game at number 8 is Paper Mario. This beautifully crafted RPG was released near the end of the lifespan of the Nintendo 64 and shortly before a new chapter of Nintendo's console legacy. The game offered a very creative and iconic 3D art style, which was themed on the entire world being themed off of paper. It allowed for the game to pop out, and while the game itself was enjoyable to look at, it also had the gameplay to help back up the experience to make it even more enjoyable. It was a one-of-a-kind experience that left gamers mesmerized, and this was a game that was like no other at the time. Thanks to the stellar experience of what Paper Mario provided, it gave Nintendo the opportunity to make more follow-up titles in the future, and is also the highlight of another solid entry. Now next up at number 7 is Jak and Daxter and the Precursor Legacy. After Naughty Dog was done working on the Crash Bandicoot franchise on the original PlayStation, the team entered a new chapter on the second console entry of the PlayStation with Jak and Daxter. This was a very enjoyable platformer that had the player travel through a semi-open world hunting for precursor orbs and power cells. The game offered a variety of different environments such as swamps, snowy mountains, sandy beaches, and more. It also had some engaging boss battles and some creative mini-games as well. When it came to the PlayStation 2's library of games, Jak and Daxter was easily a must-own and a must-play for the console. Racing into number 6 is Sonic Adventure 2. While the Dreamcast was near the end of its life and Sega was preparing to leave the console market, Sega and Sonic Team would release what many fans considered to be one of the best 3D Sonic games of all time, which was Sonic Adventure 2. This title improved upon the gameplay from the original Sonic Adventure and introduced 2 new iconic and recognizable characters in the Sonic franchise today, which are Rouge the Bat, and Shadow the Hedgehog. This amazing title also had a very in-depth story and enjoyable soundtrack with some of the most memorable songs from the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise originating from this game. The impact that this game has left on both gamers and the Sonic franchise is profound and greatly earns its very respectable entry on this list. Now, before this list continues along, I'd like to give a quick moment and invite all of you to consider stopping by my own personal game room channel, which is Nate the Game Guy, where you get to see my own personal video game collection, hear some of my tips when it comes to game collecting, along with me sharing other miscellaneous topics when it comes to game collecting. Now, with that out of the way, let's continue back onto this list. Now, coming in with another great entry at number 5 is Conker's Bad Fur Day. This was another title which was released near the end of the Nintendo 64's lifespan and would become to be known as one of the most adult-oriented games of all time, thanks to its heavy emphasis on the humor that was showcased in the game. This platformer didn't hold back on its raunchy jokes and themes, but also its enjoyable platforming sections, along with its variety of the environments within the game. Rare wanted to show the world that it could make games for adults if it really wanted to. This is a title that has left fans begging for another entry and is easily one of the most iconic games of all time, thanks to the entire experience that Conker's Bad Fur Day gave back in 2001. Another fantastic entry at number 4 is Pokemon Crystal. During a time that Pokemon had strong momentum in popularity and success, Nintendo wanted to keep things going and had no intentions of slowing down, and of course, Pokemon Crystal would be another stellar release into the Pokemon franchise. Pokemon already introduced many iconic characters and Pokemon to the world, and the trend only continued with Pokemon Gold and Silver, but it was thanks to Crystal that there were upgrades and improvements for those that wanted to explore the Johto region. To this day, Pokemon Crystal is considered a classic RPG and brought countless memories to many, and it would simply be insane not to include Crystal. Smashing into number 3 is Super Smash Bros. Melee. This amazing fighting entry released not long after the release of the Nintendo GameCube, allowing for the GameCube to gain even more heavy hitter exclusives for gamers to choose from. This best-selling title offered countless hours of replayability and wonderful memories thanks to the exhilarating and competitive gameplay, roster of characters, incredible stages, memorable soundtrack, along with many other aspects that allowed Melee to be a top-tier title. The second entry into the Smash Bros. Franchise greatly improved upon its Nintendo 64 predecessor, which offered a substantially improved experience for those back during the 6th generation of gaming. When it came to the highlight of 2001, Melee easily earned its spot and easily was remembered fondly for those that were fortunate enough to enjoy this incredible title. Another grand entry at number 2 is Grand Theft Auto 3. This game would be the first entry into the Grand Theft Auto series that would go full 3D and would revolutionize and set the standard of what open world games should be like. There truly was no game like this back in 2001, and it helped propel the Grand Theft Auto franchise more into the mainstream. The Grand Theft Auto series was a really big deal during the 6th generation of gaming, and with Grand Theft Auto 3, it helped make that circumstance happen thanks to the new 3D open world environment to explore Liberty City in, its gameplay, story, and everything that Rockstar presented to the table. Of course, the controversy that came with it also helped grow the franchise due to its violent and adult-oriented nature. This was a title that you could simply not escape from hearing about in 2001, and the impact that Grand Theft Auto 3 has left on the game industry is still felt today. Now at that number 1 spot is Halo Combat Evolved. This first-person shooter was another title that revolutionized the game industry. There truly wasn't any other game out there like Combat Evolved, and the gameplay was like no other. For many years, shooters would be compared to Doom, but Halo changed that trend. It also came with a story and an atmosphere that was able to keep up with its superb gameplay. Master Chief would easily become a recognizable character and an icon that symbolized the Xbox brand. Whether you were playing its single-player campaign or its captivating multiplayer, there was enjoyment to be found. Not only was Halo Combat Evolved a phenomenal shooter that helped propel the Xbox brand to rival against the PlayStation and a worthy contender for home consoles, but also greatly impacted how shooters would be seen many years afterwards. Thanks to what Microsoft and Bungie accomplished with this stellar title, it thankfully didn't take long for Halo to become a household name. What Combat Evolved accomplished was truly amazing, and because of the high quality experience that the game brought, this is why Halo Combat Evolved is the best game of 2001. Thank you so much for checking out the list. Please be sure to check out these other videos right here so you can see even more games being ranked accordingly. Don't forget to subscribe and be sure to hit that bell notification button so that way you can be notified when there are more games being ranked. Thank you for stopping by and see you next time.